Episode 6. The rules have changed.
Ethan sat on the floor of the study, his back pressed against the desk. His hands trembled as he clutched his camera.
His breath coming in short gasps. Behind him, a slow, deliberate knocking filled the silence. Knock, knock, knock. A whisper, soft.
Familiar, too close. You can't ignore me forever, Ethan. The voice was distorted, yet strangely gentle. Ethan clenched his jaw,
Trying to suppress the fear creeping up his spine. "What do you want from me?" he whispered hoarsely. Silence. Then, a quiet chuckle. The whisper moved around him, circling, teasing, brushing against his skin. "You already know."
Ethan squeezed his eyes shut. He didn't want to admit it, but deep down, he did know. He always had.
When Ethan finally forced himself to stand, the room felt different. Too still. Too quiet. It was as if the house itself was watching him.
He turned toward the door. His stomach dropped. The door was gone. In its place, only a smooth wall, seamless, unbroken. No escape.
No, 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 no,
he whispered, his pulse hammering in his ears. He spun around, only to find the desk missing. The bookshelves.
the furniture, all gone. The room was shrinking. The walls crept inward, closing around him, suffocating him.
Then came the voices. Dozens of whispers filled the air, some crying, some laughing, some screaming. "Let us out."
You shouldn't be here. You were never supposed to leave. You forgot me. Ethan clutched his head.
Pressing his hands to his ears. But the voices weren't coming from outside. They were inside him. Then, silence. A single voice. Clear and childlike. "Ethan, do you want to see?" His eyes snapped open. The floor vanished. He plunged into darkness.
Ethan hit the ground hard. Gasping for breath, he rolled onto his side, his camera still strapped to his chest.
The air smelled of dust and damp wood. He pushed himself up, scanning his surroundings with the dim light from his camera. A basement. But something was wrong. It looked older. Rows of small beds lined the room, their wooden frames covered in dust.
Each had a name carved into it. Eliza, Thomas, Rachel. Ethan stopped when he saw the last name, his own. A shiver ran through him.
His fingers traced the carved letters. Then, movement. He turned sharply, his camera shaking. A small figure stood at the far end of the room.
A little girl, holding a doll, staring at him with hollow eyes. For a long moment, neither of them spoke.
"Then, I tried to warn you," she said softly. The candlelight flickered, the shadows deepened, and behind the girl,
Something else stirred, something watching. The room trembled. The whispers returned, louder now, a storm of voices swirling around Ethan.
The little girl took a step forward. What are you?" Ethan whispered. She tilted her head. "Not what?" she murmured. "Who?" Ethan's breath hitched. Memories clawed at his mind. The voice on the other side of the door. The one that had begged for help. The one that had screamed his name. It was you, he realized, his voice barely audible. The girl nodded.
And then, cracks spread across her skin, hairline fractures, light seeping through them. "Ethan, if you don't leave now," she whispered, "you never will."
The house roared. The walls split open, revealing countless hands, clawing, reaching, hungry. Ethan ran.
The corridors twisted around him as he sprinted through the dark. The whispers shrieked his name. Then, up ahead, a door, old,
Rusted. It shouldn't be there, but it was open. Ethan didn't hesitate. He dove through. Silence. When Ethan gasped awake, he was lying on the floor of his apartment. His camera sat beside him, still recording. His hands trembled. His heart pounded. For a long time, he just stared at the ceiling, at the familiar walls. He was home. A shaky, broken laugh escaped him.
Relief flooded his chest. Then, his phone buzzed. A message. No sender. Did you really think it was that easy? Ethan's body went rigid.
His breath caught. Slowly, he lifted his phone, and in the reflection of the screen, his own face smiled back at him.